So I'll just give an introduction on mLab. mLab is an Android-based application that allows caregivers at facilities to access real-time results that are both secure and confidential. And the results are delivered through SMS from the central reference laboratory. So what it allows you to do as a facility user is to be able to send to log in your samples, and also to fetch the results that are coming in from the central reference laboratory. So for those who do not have laboratory information systems, then this is a solution that is for you. And its main aim is to reduce the turnaround time taken from dispatch of results from laboratories to their receipt at the facility level. This then ensures that people living with HIV are linked to care within the shortest possible time, which eventually contributes to the third 95 of the UNAIDS program targets. Next slide. So the purpose of it, as I've mentioned, is real-time monitoring of results at the facility. So our colleague Victor Gutu will show us exactly how you can be able to do that. And then the real-time monitoring leads to a shortened turnaround time from the transmission of the results, from when you gave out your sample to when you receive the results. So again, all of that is handled in the system for you. Then as another byproduct of that is the transmission of Hts results. Right now, once you send out the samples for testing, you just have to wait for an SMS from the CRL, which will come in through either the mobile app, or you can do it in the dashboard, as will be showcased by Cynthia. Then we have sample remote login, just to be able to enable you to match results to the client and patients during transmission, reducing errors that come about when you are doing it manually. And also, you can then now view these indicators on the dashboard. So there are some indicators that you're tracking, which again will showcase to you, and we'll be requesting that you give us also feedback on them to enable us to improve on them from what we have currently. Then finally, there's messaging of clients on availability of their results at the facility, which has quickened clinical decision-making and enabled the client to readily access their results that they were sending. So again, Ogutu will show us the different results from the different samples that can be taken and also tracked via mLab. Thanks, Ben. Next. So I'll skip this slide. Victor Gutu will handle it when he's doing the demo, and he'll walk us through the process flow so that you don't lose it when he starts the demo. Next slide. The next application we'll have in focus is the C4c. C4c stands for Care for the Carers, and it just is a mobile-based system, again, Android to be specific, that is developed by the Ministry of Health through PEPFAR funds support healthcare workers who get exposed when attending to patients through accidental exposures. Yeah. So on the next slide, we then see the specific purpose of the system, which is to promote post-exposure prophylaxis amongst the healthcare workers. This is done through appointment reminders and scheduled motivational messages to ensure adherence. So, like again, Ogutu will be able to showcase. Healthcare worker can be able to log in to C4c, be able to report on the exposure type that they have been able to be exposed, where they were exposed, how they were exposed. And once they log themselves in, they'll be able to receive SMS messages to either encourage them to adhere to either quarantine or visiting of of a caregiver to administer the PEP, or even get motivational messages to encourage them during the period of exposure or of treatment to anything that might have come up during the exposure. Additionally, it has a communication function that enables either you, the partner, even the facility, and also at national level at the ministry, to communicate with the healthcare workers for different reasons and purposes. For example, broadcast SMSs can be sent for an outbreak or for new information that might come that might assist the healthcare worker as they are also doing their work. Then finally, we can be able to track vaccination programs. A good example is the hepatitis B vaccine, and also most currently is the COVID vaccine that were able to be tracked using the C4c, just to be able to see and inform the caregiver of their next dose, or even to encourage them to get the next dose as it's available. So we'll be able to showcase all of that. And Victor, Gutu, and Cynthia will be able to take you through that. Next slide, Ben. So again, I'll skip this. They'll be able to handle this for you when they are about to start demonstrating the system. So finally, we go to the ART directory. And the ART directory is a web-based directory and built on a mobile SMS platform. Its main reason is for querying by contact persons for care treatment facilities that provide care to clients on transit. So I can repeat that again. So it is a web-based directory built on a SMS platform that is used by facilities to query for facilities where clients who are on transit or transfer are on. So it enables the visiting facility to be able to get quickly the information about the transfer or transit facility where the client has come from. We know that right now this directory exists in a manual form, but we have come up with a way in the ART directory to list it electronically and enable you at the facility level to quickly send in either the facility MFL code or the name and get the information of the caregivers on the other side to quickly call them and get more information about the client on transit. So this demonstration will be handled by Ronald, who will take us through both the mobile application and the web application and show you the different functionalities that you can be able to get from this application. So again, I encourage you to give us feedback, especially on the functionality that you might need in and the dashboard indicators that you might want to track. So on that, we have a data flow diagram, which Ronald will handle. So I'll go to the last slide on my side, which is not on Ben's side, which captures the minimum specifications that you might want. You will need to run this application. So Ben, I'll just request you to allow me to share this, even if it's not on presentation mode. Thank you. Okay, so these are the minimum specifications you're required to have. All of the applications are running on Android. So we are required to have at least a version 5 of the Android and above. Above will be better. Also a good battery specs for your device, not one that will die on you as you're working on it. Also a good display screen. As you will be able to see from the demos, there are a lot of icons, which if you have a small display screen, can then be misaligned, and your viewing won't be so good. And a good resolution. Resolution is just the sharpness for you to be able to read better, not to squint and be zooming in and out. So a good resolution from 800 by 450. So the sellers of the devices will know this. And memory. A lot of the information is stored on device. So you need a good hard disk and also a fast memory to be able to process the information that is being stored on your device. Like, for example, the mLab, you'll see it fetches a lot of information, which you need to store on device and also process quite fast when you want to drill down into the information. So when you're thinking of procuring a device, those minimum device specifications will be able to guide you. So that's the end from me. I want to hand it back to Ben to coordinate the demo session as we invite our colleagues to guide us through it all. Thanks, Ben. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kevin, for that introductory session. So at least it sets stage for us, even as we go into the actual demonstration, just for us to see how these mobile applications work. So first up, we are going to have Victor or Gutu taking us through the mobile application of mLab. Whereas Cynthia will take over after that to take us through the web dashboards for mLab. So if you are ready, Victor, feel free to take it away.
Okay, thanks, Bernard. Let me share my screen. Okay, this is I think everyone can see my screen. This is the model just to show the flow of mLab process. So from here, we assume the healthcare worker has already downloaded the mLab mobile application. So the healthcare worker takes the sample from the client. Then the sample is transported to the testing lab. This can be NASCOV viral load or early infant diagnosis or any lab information management system. So here, once the results have been received, they are tested, and then the results are uploaded to the system. Then once they are uploaded to the system, they are relayed to the mLab mobile and web platform. Once they are relayed to the mLab mobile and web platform, here now, the results can now be viewed by the healthcare worker at the facility, and those clients who had consented to be notified of their results having been relayed to the facility will be notified, and those who have consented to get the results on the mobile phone via SMS will be able to get. So this is the process flow for the mLab. So let me just, we can have now a look at the mobile application. A minute. Just a minute, I open the mobile application.
So as we wait for Victor to share the screen for the new guys joining us, kindly do self-introduction in the chat area just by providing your name, your organization, and your designation. Thanks.
Okay, I think everyone can see my screen. So mobile app is, the mLab mobile app is on the Play Store. So when you get the Play Store, you just tap mLab and you'll be able to access the application. The first thing you'll have to register. So for me, I've already registered. Let me just log in. So my login details, so the key, then password. So we have different modules here, but we'll be able to look at the first module, EID/VL, that is early infant diagnosis and viral load. Then we'll be able also to look at the HTS, HIV testing services, then the module for notifying client, and then the historical results. So let's begin with EID/VL. So clicking EID/VL, you have two options for viewing results and for sample remote login. Viewing result will be able to view the result for EID and VL. Then for sample remote login, you can be able to, the healthcare worker can be able to capture the details of specific patients and push the results to the specific testing lab. So when you click on the results, the system will check all results that have been sent by the lab information management system to your specific facility. So all results here are 153, as you can see. When you want to look at the details of specific patient, you can just click, for example, this one, you'll be able to look at the patient ID, the age, the gender, date collected, then the results, and the date received. Then when you want to view specific EID, because all these are both EID and viral load. So when you want to look at EID, you'll be able to click the second tab and be able to get the early infant diagnosis results for that facility. Then the third, you'll be able to view the viral load results. Then the fourth tab is EID reports. So this report will be able to, just like a chart, be able to view results on a monthly basis. And then you can also view results that have been sent to your facility on a yearly basis by clicking the tab on the right bottom for yearly. Yes, the yearly results will be captured here graphically. Then when you want to view the report for viral load, it's the last tab. Yes, here you can be able to view results graphically on a monthly basis, and you can also be able to view results on yearly basis. So that's for EID and VL module. Then for sample remote login, once you click on the sample remote login, this is now where the healthcare worker want to send the sample details of a client to the specific testing lab. So you can choose the testing lab where the sample are going, let's say Cambridge, Nairobi. And on clicking on selecting specific lab, you'll be able to see the tab below. On this screen, you'll be able to check the viral load samples and early infant diagnosis. So for the viral load samples, yeah, you can look at the form. The healthcare worker will be able to input these details and just submit. On submission, these details will go to that specific testing lab. When you get back, same. So you can go to viral load sample. Yeah, where the healthcare worker will just do the same, and then early infant diagnosis, and the healthcare worker will be able also to capture the details of this infant, the sample for this infant, and be able to submit to the specific lab. So when you go back to our main dashboard, we have finished the first module of EID and VL results. So the second tab is HTS, HIV testing services. So on clicking HTS services, again, you have results and sample remote login. On results, the specific facility will be able to view the results that have turned positive by clicking the pink icon. Yeah, for this facility, they have no, it doesn't have any positive results. And then on clicking negative tab, those results that have turned negative will be displayed there. Yeah. Then for sample remote login again, it's just same. Once the healthcare worker has actually taken a sample from specific patient, the healthcare worker will input details of that specific patient on this screen, select the lab where the sample will be taken, and then submit. Then the third module, we can skip TB and dashboard. Those are ongoing work. So the third will look at the notify client, the second last tab. So clicking notify client, we have two options, register clients and individual results. So for register client, here, this client's sample has been taken. You want now to consent this client that once results have been relayed from lab information management system to mLab system, you want this client to receive results via SMS, or you just want to notify the client that the results are ready. He can get to the facility to view the results. So just again, input the patient unique identifier, first name, last name, phone number, and then below the consent to receive. You can select if the client wants to get the results via SMS, you select that radio button. If the client wants just to be notified, you then select the notification radio button. And then the second tab is individual results. So here the healthcare worker want just to search results, let's say for a specific patient, you'll be able to put the MFL code of the facility, the patient unique identifier, then date from and date to. Yeah, then the last tab, we have historical results. So on this, the healthcare worker wants to get results within specific timelines. Maybe from 20, you can pick maybe from, I'm selecting date from, can be able to pick maybe from specific dates, maybe from last year to today. And on, yes, those results will be able to be displayed below the screen. Yeah, I think those are the only modules for mLab. In case there's any question, you can just over to you, Bernard.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Victor. For the participants, should you have any question regarding the mLab mobile application, feel free to type it in the chat section. Our team will be able to respond to those questions. So coming up is we want to see the web dashboard that we're going to take to be taken through by Cynthia. Cynthia, if you're on, kindly proceed.
Thanks, Bernard. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So my name is Cynthia Kamau from Palladium, and I'll be doing a demo for the dashboard. So the mHealth dashboard can be found at mlab.kenyahmis.org. I'm going to do a demo logged in as the partner admin, but you also have different levels. So you can log in as a super admin, and you can also log in as the facility admin. So just like Victor highlighted, mLab has 3 use cases. You can use the mobile app, you can use the interoperability layer, or you can use the SMS option if you do not have internet. The dashboard serves as a main point to show results and reports for people using IL and also for people using SMS. But if you're also using the app, you can also use it. So when you log in, the first thing that you will see is the dashboard. So the dashboard mostly has reports. The first thing that you'll see is select partner. We have different filters. So the first one is for partner. Since I'm logged in as the partner admin, it's going to automatically select my partner name. You can filter out the counties that you're present in. Then you can also choose the sub-county. And then you can narrow down to the facilities that are in that sub-county. Finally, you can also be able to choose the date range for which you want to display the analytics that are below. So as I scroll, you can be able to see some cards here. The first one shows all the results. So for now, this partner has 23,205 results. You can see the facilities that are under you. For now, there are 4. The counties you're present in, the partner OK, which is always 1, the unsuppressed BL, and the positive EID total. Then when I scroll below, we can also be able to see the turnaround time in days. So the first turnaround time is for EID. The turnaround time is calculated from the time the sample is collected at the lab to the time that it arrives at mLab. And then when it's in mLab, the people at the facility or the partners can be able to view the results immediately. So for VL, the turnaround time here is 13 days. Next, we also have some few pie charts. So the first one is for viral suppression rate. The green is for suppressed, which is at 85.1%. The unsuppressed is in yellow and it's at 11.2%. And then we have the invalid, which are 3.8%. The next chart is for EID positivity. So we can see that we have the negative results, which are at 97.5. Then we have the invalid at 0.9 and the positive at 1.6. So as I scroll further down, we have a map for the country. So you'll only be able to see the counties that you're present in. So for now, this partner has Tana River, and when you hover, you can see the results that have been transmitted there, and you can also be able to see the facilities that are in that county. Then finally, we also have another bar chart that has results pulled by county. Pulled means that the results have been viewed on the mobile application. So when you hover, you'll be able to see all the results that are transmitted versus the ones that have been pulled. This means all the results versus the ones that have actually been read at the facility level. So for this partner, we have Mombasa County, and then we also have Tana River. That is the home page, which mostly serves the different analytics that we have. The main bar is at the top. So I'm going to click the main bar. We have different modules. we have the user module, we have facilities, we have IL facilities, then we have all results, then we also have the different categories of results, and finally we have the raw data tab. So I'm going to start with the VL. I'm going to start with this VL tab. So when you click on the VL tab, you're going to see a list of all of the total VL that you have. I'm just going to click on one sample result. So when you click on the plus icon, you can be able to view more data on the result. So we have the patient ID, the type of the result, the age, gender, content, classification, the date it was collected, the date it was sent. So the date that it was sent is IL specific. So it will show you the date that it was actually transmitted via IL. We have delivered and we have read. Read means if it's been viewed on the mobile application or not. Then you can see the facility, the result belongs to, the county, the sub-county, and the partner. We do not display the client's names for privacy reasons. And then you can also be able to navigate through the different pages. And if you want to search for a specific client ID, then you can be able to do that on this search bar that is at the top right. The next tab I'm going to show is the EID results. So the EID tab is very similar to the VL tab. We have a list that shows all the EID results that are there. If you click on the plus icon, you can also be able to view more on the result. So we have the type of the result, which is EID, the patient ID, the age of this client, the agenda, the contents of the result, the classification, the date it was collected, when it was sent, delivered, read, and then we have the details of the facility, the county, the sub-county, and the respective partner. The next category is HTS results. So on HTS results, the first thing that we have is a filter. So you can be able to filter with a partner. You can filter with the county that you want, the sub-county, all the way down to the facility. And then we also have a specification of the date range. So I'm just going to click submit. And we'll be able to view the HTS results for this partner. So again, we have the patient ID, the age, the gender, the test results, the date it was submitted, the date it was released, the date that we got it. Then we have the details of the facility, the county, and the sub-county. So above, we also have a way for you to export the data just in case you need it for analysis. So you can export using CSV, Excel, PDF, or as a print. The next tab is facilities. On facilities, you can be able to view all the facilities that are under you. So we have the facility name, the MFL code, the level, the county, sub-county, phone number, and the date it was added. So on the phone number, you put the phone number for the facility, because in an instance where you want to start getting results using the SMS option, that is the phone number that will be used to actually send out the results. Then you can be able to also add a new facility. You will specify the county, the sub-county, then the facility name. Then you can be able to input the phone number. In an instance where any of those details changes, you can edit. And in an instance where you're no longer supporting the facility, then you can remove it. The next tab is IL facilities. If your facilities are using IL or they want to get results by IL, we have this tab called the IL facilities. You can be able to add a facility as an IL facility here. So you will specify the county, the sub-county, and the facility name. Then we have this field called Internet Enabled. This is the determinant of whether the results are going to be transmitted using SMS or using IL. If you select yes, then they will go through IL. If you select no, then you're going to get the results using SMS, and you can specify the phone number. The final tab, okay, we have all results. All results will show you VN, EID, and HTS results, as opposed to the different categories that we have. Then we also have the sample remote login. So just as Victor showed, if you would like to view all the results that have been entered in mLab using sample remote login, you can be able to do that here. So you'll be able to view the CCC number, the patient name, the gender, the current regimen, the ART regimen, the justification code, the type of the result, the lab name that the result is going to, and then the details of your facility. We also have the reports for EID remote login and HTS remote login, which are exactly the same as the viral load sample remote login. And finally, we have this raw data tab. So the raw data tab will enable you to get results in an instance where you want to do your personal analysis, or if there's a request for data. So as opposed to making a call to probably the service desk to get your data, you can always click the raw data tab. Then you can select your partner name, the county that you want the data from, the sub-county, the specific facility, and then you can also select the date range, if it's quarterly, if it's yearly. And when you hit submit, then you'll be able to view those results. And you can also extract them in CSV, Excel, PDF, or print according to your preference. Yeah, that brings me to the end of the presentation. Over to you, Bernard.
Thank you, Cynthia, for that walkthrough on the mLab web dashboard. So far, I haven't seen any question on the chat, so I want to believe that all the participants are comfortable. But at this point, I want to just give a maximum of 2 guys who have a question to just raise up their hands and ask any question that relates to mLab application or the mLab dashboard. Feel free to raise up your hand so then you can get the mic to ask a question. Okay, seems like there isn't any hand, so I think we'll just proceed to the next session. But I think even as we go to the next session, it is important to note what Cynthia shared when she started, that mLab as an application is well integrated with Kenya EMR through the interoperability layer. So that means that the result that comes from the reference labs through the mLab can also be reflected in Kenya EMR if that facility has a well-configured interoperability layer in place. So that is very important to note. I can see Jared or Chico. Jared, please unmute and ask your question.
Thank you so much. Now I have just a concern. I've seen you showing on that is viral load and EID. And what of the HIV inconclusive? Is it also captured in the same engagement? Thank you.
Thank you. Cynthia, you want to respond to Jared?
So for now, we only have the HTS, EID, and DL. We don't have an exclusive tab for the inconclusive results.
Okay. Jared, do you have a follow-up question?
Just on the same, any maybe thought or any plan also to incorporate inconclusive, because actually inconclusive also do sometimes give us that time following up on the result. So if also we can get the results in real time for the inconclusive, that would be of course quite appreciated. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thanks for that. I cannot see any other hand. So I guess the question was whether there is any plans, and I think that can be discussed towards the tail end as we do the internal consultation. Right. So I am seeing some questions coming in through the chat, so we'll be answering them right there in the chats. For now, I think let's just proceed to the next session. So we are going to go through the care for the carer, the C4c application. We are going to start with the Android version, and then we'll also look at how the web dashboard looks like, just like we've done with the mLab. So again, we are going to have Victor take us through the same, take us through the C4c web application, the mobile application, while Cynthia will be showing us how it looks like on the web browser. So Victor, if you are available, please take it away.
Thanks, Ben. Let me share my screen. Okay, I think everyone can see my screen. Again, this is just a model for process flow to explain how C4c works. So a healthcare worker downloads C4c application from Google Play Store. He then registers himself, and the details are submitted to the C4c database. And on finishing registration, before he logs in, he'll have to, the application will prompt him to complete profile. So on completing profile here, you'll be able to record details about hepatitis vaccination if the healthcare worker has taken the Hpv vaccine. Then the details will be able to be sent to the web dashboard. So once the healthcare worker has already submitted these details for Hpv vaccine or any exposure or immunization, the system will be able to send broadcast SMSs. For example, if the healthcare worker reports to have been exposed to COVID, there will be alerts. And then there will be follow-up SMSs that shall be sent for 14 days. And then if the healthcare worker can also access learning materials from the application, and the facility can also send broadcast SMS to their healthcare workers. The healthcare workers attached to a specific facility. Yeah, so this is a simple workflow. I think when we go through the mobile app, we'll have a deep understanding of the mobile application. So let me share my screen for the mobile app. Yeah. So again, I've already registered, so you just log in. So let me use my phone number. 64 567. So C4c has these four modules. We have exposures, immunizations, resources, and Gitenge. Just to explain, the first module for exposures, the healthcare worker will be able to report any disease that he has been exposed to. And then he'll be able also to view the history of the exposures. Then the second tab for immunization, the healthcare worker will be able to report the disease that he has been immunized against, and he'll be able to view the history of those immunizations. Then on resources, the healthcare worker will be able to access learning materials. And the last tab will just take you through that Gitenge specific application. So let me go into exposures. So these are the history of HIV exposures. This is for specific class, now for my account. So if I want to report HIV exposure, I'll just click on the blue button on the right bottom. Yes, I can report COVID exposure or other exposure. So HIV exposure is under other exposures. So when I click other exposures and input this data on this screen, the date and time of exposure, if I was putting on if PEP was initiated, pre-exposure, I also input the location where the exposure did occur. For example, the surgical ward, medical ward, or theater, maternity, dental clinic. Then the next I'll be able to put the type of exposure. If it was a cut or a bite, or needle stick. Then I also be able to input, this is about what was the HIV status of the patient, if the patient was positive, negative, or if the status was unknown. Then I'll be able also to put the HPV status, the hepatitis virus status of the source patient. If it's positive, we'll put if it's negative or if it's unknown. And then I'll also be able to record the exposures that I've had for the last 1 year in numbers. Maybe if I had 0 or 1 or 2, and then I'll be able to submit. So on submission, the details of this will be viewed here on the history of HIV exposures. Then if I want to report COVID exposure, I'll be able to click on the COVID exposures tab on the top, and then report exposure, then COVID-19 exposures. As a healthcare worker, I'll be able to put my ID number, probable date of exposure, how I came to contact, if I was wearing PPEs, personal protective equipment, if I did receive the IPC training, if I'm experiencing any symptoms, I will be able to say yes or no. If I've gotten a PCR test, then how I'm handling isolation, date I began my isolation, where I was diagnosed, and then I'll be able to put my county, sub-county, and ward for the purpose of tracing. So once this data have been sent, the healthcare worker will be able to view on this screen. So that's just HIV exposures and COVID exposures. Then if we go back, the second tab is immunization, for tracking immunization history. So I'm clicking immunization again. These are history of diseases that healthcare worker has been immunized against. If you want to report any immunization that he has taken, you'll be able to click on the blue icon with the syringe on the right bottom. Then the healthcare worker will be able to select the disease. For example, let's say measles or any other. Then you have the date of the first immunization, be able to input there. Then if the healthcare worker did take a second dose of immunization, be able to say yes, and the system will be able to prompt him or her to input the date of second immunization. If also he took a third dose of immunization and says yes, you'll be able to record the date of the third immunization. So again, once that data has been put, will be displayed on the screen, the history of immunization. So the third module is for resources, useful medical resources. On clicking these resources, we have COVID-19 resources. We have then the second tab on the topmost, general. We have general resources for healthcare workers. Then during registration, I've said after registration, the system will prompt for the first time of login, the system will prompt healthcare worker to complete profile. So under that functionality, the healthcare worker will be able to input the facility that he or she is attached to. So the system will display resources pushed to the system, to the system for their clients to be able to view the learning resources. Then we have information center, the last tab. Here we have frequently asked questions, the ART guidelines, a link to NASCOP website. Then we have e-learning materials and resource links. So in clicking the resource links, the link on the bottom, you'll be able to view all these materials here. Yes, I think that's all for C4c. Bernard, you can take over.
Thank you, Victor, for that. So I think without wasting time, we'll just move to the web version of this that will be presented by Cynthia, just to take us through how the same looks like on the web and what are some of the functionalities that are there on the web. Yes, please continue, Cynthia.
Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is the C4c dashboard. It can be accessed on c4c.kenyahmis.org. The dashboard mostly serves as a point for getting reports for C4c. We also have a module for SMS broadcasts. We have a module for users where you can upload users. It serves as a bulk upload. You can upload many users at a go. And then we have the resource center. The first thing that you'll see when you log in is a breakdown of the total users that are in the system. So I'm currently logged in as the super admin, but we have other access levels like the partner admin, the county admin, and the facility admin. So for now, we have a total of 11,991 users. We have 86 reported PEP exposures. 539 broadcast messages have been sent out. The users are across 895 facilities in 47 counties, and we have 15 partners. When I scroll below, we have different filters. You can be able to select the county, you can select the sub-county, the partner, the facility level, if it's a level 1 facility or a level 5, the specific facility, and we also have a date range filter. When I scroll below, we have a graph that shows the registration across the month and the year. So you can get to see the breakdown for the registrations that are happening either in your facility or if you're a partner across the different facilities you support. We also have another chart that shows the breakdown of the monthly exposures. It's a time series for the month and the specific year. And right below, we have a map that shows the breakdown of registered users and exposures. So for example, when I hover on Nyeri County, we can see we have 5 exposures and we have 1,168 users. That is the dashboard. The next tab is the broadcast tab. So the broadcast is a feature that enables you to send SMS to different people. So the first tab shows the broadcast history. So you can be able to see the specific cadre that an SMS was sent out to, the person who created it, the person who approved it, the facility that the SMS was sent out, the time, and the message. So this feature serves mostly as a communication tool, just in case you want to alert users in your facility of something that might be ongoing. For example, if it's a webinar that's going to be happening, if it was postponed, or if there's a allocation change, then you can use this feature to communicate out to people. So we have 2 options. We have the bulk broadcast. The bulk broadcast is used to send out SMS to everyone in the system. It is mostly used by the super admin. Then we have the send a new broadcast. This is a feature that's mostly used by the partners and also by the facility. You can select the facility you belong to. If you're a facility admin, it will just pick your facility by default. You can choose the cadre that you want to send out the message to. Then you can be able to write the text below and send it. The next module is the users module. In the users module, if you're an admin, you can be able to create a new user, an individual user, by adding their details on this form. Then we have a feature called bulk signup right below. The bulk signup is used in an instance where you do not have the full details of a user. So if you just have their first name, their surname, their mobile number, gender, and their password, then you can be able to upload multiple users with this feature by uploading an Excel. We have a template for how that Excel should look like at the far left. When you click on Get Excel Template, you can be able to download the template that you can then use to upload on this page. We also have another way to upload, which is called the facility sign up. You can use this if you have the full details of the healthcare worker, that is their department, their cadre, and their date of birth. ID is optional, so you can put it. If you're not comfortable, you can also refrain from putting it. The next tab is the healthcare workers tab. This will enable you to see all the users that are in your facility, or it's dependent on the access level that you have. You can be able to export the details for the different healthcare workers. Then we also have a tab for incomplete profiles. On incomplete profiles, if you probably uploaded someone and you want to confirm if they actually completed their profile by logging into the app, then you can search them on complete profiles. If they're not there, then you can find them on incomplete profiles and prompt them to complete their profile so that you have their full details. The next tab is the registration reports. The registration reports enable you to view different categorizations of your users. The first one is the summary. So the summary will show you a time series by month and year of how the registrations have been happening. You can view a report by cadre, so you can be able to tell the highest registrations are from which cadre and the lowest registrations are from which cadre. We also have registrations by age, so you can get to see the age ranges for your healthcare workers, and you can also be able to see the gender. At the top, we have the filters for county, sub-county, partner, facility level, facility, and we also have a date range. The next tab is the COVID exposures. So the COVID exposures is quite conclusive. The first one is, the first tab shows the general reports. So for the general reports, we display the total exposures, the facility exposures, and the community exposures. And when I scroll below, we have different kinds of reports depending on the details that were filled when you are actually reporting the exposure. So the first report is a report by month, which is a time series. We have a report by cadre. We have a report by gender, by age, by transmission, if it was through a colleague, a patient, a family member, or a community member. We have one by procedure. If you are wearing a PPE, the type of PPE you are wearing, if you received IPC training, how long ago you received IPC training. Then we also have other reports called COVID-19 follow-ups, which capture the information that you record after you have isolated yourself. So we can see if the number of people who actually got COVID-specific training before the exposure, the training period, the symptoms that they have reported, the risk assessment, the recommendations, if they had a PCR test done, the results for the PCR test, how they're managing the exposure, how long they take off work, and if they return to work after the exposure. Lastly, we have the COVID-19 exposure list, which can be used for research purposes, just in case one wants to extract data or to also view the raw data for the exposures that are in the graph. If you click on the arrow, you will also be able to view more on the exposure. That's the details, like if they got IPC training and the date of contact. The next tab is the exposure tabs. So these exposures are PEP exposures. Again, we have different kinds of reports. You can be able to view the summary for the exposures. It's a time series that shows the different exposures across the month and the year. You can see the exposure by type. If it was a bite, a cut, a needle stick, and other. We can see the specific location that the exposure occurred, if it was in the theater, if it was at the lab, if it was maternity, the device that you are using, where the exposure occurred, the cadre, the month, the age, the specific hour that the exposure occurred, and then we also have a report by gender. At the far right, we also have an option, just in case you will want to export these charts, probably to use them somewhere else, then you can be able to download them with different formats. Finally, we also have an exposure list. You can get to see more details on all the exposures that occurred, and you can also export the data for personal or for use. The next tab is immunizations. So just like Victor highlighted, we have different immunizations that can be tracked using the app. The first one is the Hpv report, where you can be able to view the breakdown of the healthcare workers' Hpv reports. You can get to see how many healthcare workers have had which dose specifically. As it loads, I'm going to show the other diseases report. So the first one was HPV. Then we have another tab for other diseases. So the other diseases captured are measles. So you can see the healthcare workers who've had their dose 1 and their dose 2. We have influenza, we have TDAP, varicella, and meningococcal. Again, you can export the data in Excel and you'll view a list of all the healthcare workers with the different immunization details, and you can also export the charts in case you want to use them. Yeah. So back to the Hpv reports, we can be able to view how many of the healthcare workers have had their first dose, how many have had their second dose, and the ones that have also gotten the third dose. The final tab here is the COVID-19 reports. So this tab enables you to view how many of your healthcare workers have gotten their COVID-19 vaccination. You can view the ones who've had their first dose, their second dose, and also their third dose, which is like the booster dose. So those are the immunization reports. The final tab is the resource center. The resource center enables you to upload useful resources. For example, if you have training materials, if you have protocols, if you have manuals and user guides to be used by your facility, then you can be able to upload them here. We have 3 categories. The first one is public resources. The public resources are resources that are provided by MOH. So for example, we have donning and doffing for personal protective equipment, which is a video. So I'm going to click on the plus sign. The plus sign enables you to view more. So when adding a resource, you add the title of the resource, the description of the resource. You can add links, or you can also attach documents. Public resources are added by the superadmins because the guidelines mostly come from the national level. Then we have another tab for facility resources. Facility resources are facility specific. So if, for example, you're in Kenyatta National Hospital, then your superadmin can share resources that are specific to your facility. If it's trainings or if it's guides, then they can upload them here, and users from other facilities will not be able to view them. You only view the facility resources for the facility you belong to. I will also click the plus icon. So you'll be able to see here, we have the title of the presentation, which is IPC prevention, the description of the presentation, and then a link to their Google Drive, which has all the useful documents that were shared during their training period. Superadmins are the ones who add these details. They can also edit in case there's any change, and they can also delete these resources. Finally, we have the COVID-19 resources. There are also resources that are added at the national level, and they're specific to COVID-19. Yeah, that brings me to the end of the presentation. Over to you, Bernard.
Thank you very much. That is quite a loaded resource. I hope we've learned something and we've seen the value of the C4c for both the mobile platform and the web dashboard. Yeah, so we have one more to go. That is the ART directory, which is our pretty small application. So at this point, I just want to kind of, again, go through the questions. Cynthia, if you could unshare your screen. Yes, so I just want to go through a brief Q&A session. Should you have any question that touches on the C4c for both Android mobile and web, if you'd like to type, you can type in the chat area. We will still respond to it. But should you want to verbalize your question, just raise up your hand to get the mic. So we can have a brief Q&A on the C4c. Meanwhile, for the new participants that just joined us, kindly do a self-introduction in the chat section by providing your name, organization, and your designation. So I'm waiting for a hand. I can't see any. Let me also check the charts. Someone is asking about the registration link. Yeah, just proceed with the introduction. Just write your name, your designation, and your organization right there in the chat section. Okay. So again, in the interest of time, I guess more questions will come as we move along. We want to look at the final mobile solution. So this is again an ART directory that we are going to be taken through by Ronald. So Ronald, if you're on, kindly just take it away.
Okay, thanks Ben, and good afternoon, everyone. I'll just take you through the ART director. Let me just out. Yeah, I hope this is visible. So this is how the ART directory works. So a transit client visit a site or a facility, and at that facility, usually they call the parent facility where this client is from. So this is where the idea of ART directory came in, so that they can query the details of the facility of this particular transit client, so that they can call and confirm if this client is truly their client. So the flow is self-explanatory. So once the client has visited the site, the healthcare worker at the facility just query the ART directory using maybe the MFL code. If the client came with their card, so they can check on the MFL code and query that and get the details of the contact of that particular facility from that they are their client. So, but in case the client only know the name of the facility, so they can also query using the name of the facility and get the contact details of that particular facility and call them. So to the next slide. So this is just the querying criteria which we use, which I'll show you. So we use two options. Huh? We use the check. So this check is a keyword, and then followed by forward slash, and the facility name. Maybe if you know just a single name of that facility, you will query, but it will give you all the facility with that particular name, and then you will look through which facility you want. But the next option, now if you know the MFL code of that particular facility, you can query using the MFL code and then get the contact details of that particular facility. So let me just stop there. I'll share my phone now. All right, so we are there. So we want to do this practically. And I think this is now the beauty of this you can also do this as well as I also do it. So you send I said, say, we'll use the two options, yeah? The check keyword followed by the / then the name of the facility. So you send this to the shortcode 4149. So let's do one. I check. Be something like 2. Then you send that. So this one is not being charged. Just send. Then it will give you a list of facility that name based on it.
Ronald, we lost you.
No, I'm still there.
Okay.
So let me just show you the one I did some minutes ago. I think they are coming now, yeah. So it will give you the facilities with the name, and so you can now go direct to the facility which you want. Then you query that facility with the MFL code. So let's say we want to query this second one, the avenue or sector. So we use the MFL code again, query, and it will now give us the details of that particular facility. One. Yes, so you can see this one has responded. So you can see now it's the contact details of this particular facility. Now you can pull out the phone number and now call the facility regarding the transit client. So basically, those are the two options which we use. Use the check. Check is a keyword, and then the facility name. Then you send to the shortcode 4149. After that, it may give you the details as you have seen the other one. Then you check the MFL code and send to that particular shortcode. So maybe if you know the the MFL code, then you can just send that directly. So that's how short it is. I'll stop sharing it. Then you see the option of the web dashboard. Okay. Visible. So the web dashboard is also brief. Just a matter of having the details of the facility uploaded and the like the contact which is there should be the correct one, so that somebody who's querying the contact details gets the correct contact. So at the partner level, they will be managing their facilities, and they will make sure the contact details in the system are the correct, so that maybe if somebody query for that particular facility, they can actually reach the facility. So majorly they can add the facility and update the details of the facility. In any case, the phone number changed, they can update that, so that now somebody is querying at the SMS level, they can get the correct details. So that's how brief it is. And maybe if there's an option for those who maybe want to query through the web portal, there's a guest account for them. So the partner will be creating a guest account for their facility users, so that they can as well query the details of the facilities from the web dashboard. So if I log out, let me just log out. So here I've logged in as a guest user. So as a guest user, you can just come here and directly and search for that particular facility and get the contacts you want, and go ahead and call them for the transit plan. Yes, that's all for ART directory. Back to you, Ben.
Thank you very much, Ronald. That was a quick one, and I think we've seen it in real time working. If you send the MFL code to 4149, you're able to get the details of the facility. Or if you'd like, as Ronald has put it, you can use the keyword check followed by the facility name. Okay, so at this point, I think we'll just go through the brief Q&A session. Also, if you look at the chat section, we have shared the associated guides on the mLab C4c and also the ART directory. So feel free to just jump right in, click the links and open them up. You'll be able to kind of do your own self-learning on how to use these applications on your own, at your own pace. And I think that also will kind of promote knowledge among the users and also among our partners. All right, so I want to just go through the messages to see if there is a question. I can't see any. Then I think I'll be looking out for any raised hands. So if you feel you have a question on any of the three solutions that we have taken you through today, just raise up your hand for you to get the mic. I can't see a hand. I can't see a hand. So I don't know if there are no questions because guys are not very familiar with these applications, or everyone has understood how they work. But I think then, should you have any question even after this, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be able to answer your question or take you through how to use the applications. Right, so at this point, I want to just take this opportunity to welcome Diana for the next session before we talk about the next training. So Diana, if you're on the call, kindly take it up.
Thank you for that, and thanks everyone who has participated and also led the sessions. We are coming to an end of this series, the training series. We'll be having our last training next week on Monday. So, and also we'll give you an opportunity to just give us feedback on how the series has been, and also give enough time for us to actualize all this that we have learned. I know we've gone through a lot, and it's good to also have time to implement whatever we have managed to train. And please pass to your colleagues all the trainings that we do. We post them to our YouTube channel. My colleague will post the link in the chat so that you can forward for the people that missed this training can just access and maybe familiarize yourselves and forward also to the other team members. So thanks everyone for your time, and we are hoping that these sessions have been useful, and we are going to scale up the use of these products to more facilities and also create awareness to other people who didn't join the training. Over to you, Tien.
Thank you, Diana, for those remarks. So as Diana has put it, our next training, which is the last in this series, will be on Monday, and we'll be covering about the data quality and reporting. So for all of you who have been having issues to do with data quality, how can you ensure data quality right from the point of collection all the way to the national data warehouse? And also in terms of reporting, if you have queries about reporting or you want to learn more on the reporting process, right from the EMR all the way to the ad hocs in the data warehouse, then join us again on Monday, same time from 2 to 4, which will be our last training this month in this series. So again, as Dan has put it, at the end of the series, we'll be kind of do a quick survey just to kind of get some feedback from you as our participants on how this series was, and maybe if there are any things that we need to improve on, or if there are any other key topics that maybe we need to again touch on. Yeah, so that will be next Monday. Again, this recording will be available on YouTube. So if you look at if you look up YouTube tomorrow morning, you'll be able to get this. So share that with your colleagues, so then they can also be up to speed to what we've learned today. I want to take this opportunity to thank all our facilitators. Kevin, Victor, Ronald, and Cynthia for the job well done. I think that was very seamless. So thank you again for that. Otherwise, at this point, I just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for attending the trainings. See you again next Monday, same time at the same place. Have a great evening, guys. See you soon. Thank you.